Corey. So can we all see that? So welcome once again to this seminar. And we will be spending like 1 hour plus. So I will try as much as possible to see if we can actually achieve the needed stuff for you as a student. And I believe that all of us here, we are master students. This is not for undergrad, because there's different seminars when it comes to how to write your coursework critically or effectively for both undergrad and postgraduate students. So I believe all of us here, we are postgraduate students. So this seminar is for you and not for undergrad. So let me start by introducing to you OAK Initiative UK CIC, and I'm representing OAK Initiative. I am not representing any university place. And I'm not doing this, just a disclaimer, I'm not doing this as a lecturer. I'm doing it as one of the team member of OAK Initiative. Please take note of that, not as a lecturer. So I'm doing that as a member of OAK Initiative UK. And we are looking at how to write your coursework effectively. That is the topic. And just to give you a few background about OAK Initiative, OAK Initiative is a registered organization with the UK government. It was established for providing support to immigrants in the UK through seminars, training, and other support as well. So to know more about OAK and how you can be part of our volunteers, please visit that's our website. And we are currently looking for volunteers as well across the UK for our activities. So you can register your interest by going to that website and checking the career icon. So under it, you see volunteer, where you can just fill a short form and we will definitely get back to you. So like I've said, OAK is registered within the UK government. And what we do is to support immigrant, international students, and not only international students, to support other immigrants within the UK to give them the necessary things they might be needing while in the UK. And in the next few weeks, we're going to organize a seminar on immigration and how you can regularize your stay in the UK. So we'll share the information with you in due course. So that is about OAK. And today, we will be looking at very important things, which I believe is one of the challenges, especially for the international student. I was once in that shoe, and I know it is very difficult. Like I've explained to some of the students some times ago, that when we came to the UK, it wasn't easy at all, especially writing assessment, writing report, because of where we are coming from. We're not being exposed to all this, and we're only exposed to writing exams. And that is why some of us, we find it very difficult when we first came to the UK as a student. So that is why we decided to provide this community development service to support you, to support your work, so that you'll be able to do it yourself. You don't have to give your assignment out. So it's what you can do yourself. And if you can follow what we'll be discussing tonight, then at the end of the day, you will be able to do it, and you'll be able to have a successful period as a student without any issue. So you can't hear me. Can we hear me, please? If you can hear, just say hi so that I'll be sure.
Yeah, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Thank you. Maybe you should check your, okay, thank you. Maybe you will need to check your mic, please. So that is why I'm doing this, so that we'll be able to be a better student while we are here at the university. We have a lot of students here from different universities within the UK. And so today we'll be looking at assignment criteria, assignment presentation and structure, and critical writing of assignment. So that is what we want to look at today. at the end of this short workshop, you will be able to understand how these three stuff, how they work, and how you can present a good assignment to your lecturer and also to your tutor. Please, I don't know if you can help us mute your mic, please. Aha, thank you. So let's start by looking at assignment criteria. There is a criteria for every assignment, and that is the first thing you need to know. Your lecturer, your tutor, maybe if you are using Canvas, for example, or if you are using Moodle, we have what is called Moodle as well. Under your course, you would definitely have what is called assignment criteria there, or criteria, anyone you want to call it. So you definitely have it there. And the criteria is just to show you what you are expected to cover and how you need to fix your assignment or your assessment. So that is the first thing you need to establish. You need to know that there is a kind of guidelines, we call it guideline anyway. So there's a kind of guideline that you need to understand. And you need to study this criteria or guideline before making any attempt. For example, if you are given a topic, you don't just jump into the topic. You need to first of all understand, what am I expected to do with this topic? And how am I going to go about it? So that is the first thing. So, and I'm going to show you the sample of the criteria I'm having here, which all of us, like I've said before, if you are using Canvas, you can have access to it. So go to your course, then under assignments, you will see the assignment criteria. And this is an example of assignment criteria. As a lecturer, for example, I'm giving that example, like I've said, disclaimer now, I am not giving this lecture as a lecturer, but as a team at OAK Initiative. So I'm going to use example based on my experience to teach you something that you need to know. So as a lecturer, if I am marking any assessments, I need to have this guideline with me. So, and having the guideline with me, it means I'm checking this guideline and I'm checking what the student is doing. And if the student, for example, if they do very well, if he or she do very well, then I'm going to follow this criteria to mark such students. So the first thing here under this criteria is your presentation, structure, written communication, and referencing. And you can see under it, we've got outstanding excellent / excellent, which is between 70, anything from 70 to 100%. That is excellent. And under it, you see excellent, polished, and coherent structure, excellent fluency, and academic writing, thought and ideas clearly expressed. So you can see very good, and very good is from 60 to 50, let's say 50 or 15, 50. So you can see what we have there too. And satisfactory is you don't have any value anyway. You know what you are doing, but you're unable to make it better. And in that case, you score 50. Then we have basic, and basic is from 40 to 39. While we have significant fail, which is between 30 to about 20%, and fail is between 20% to 0. So you need to study this very well. So what I'm going to do, if I'm marking you, I will see under the presentation structure and written communication and referencing, I'm going to put, for example, there is a guideline for us to mark. So if your, for example, is excellent, so I'm going to put a mark there that what I'm having here is excellent. That is first for that. The knowledge and understanding is about the body. I'm going to show you the structure. So it's about, and I will link it later with this. So it's about the knowledge, your ideas, and your presentation again, and how you are able to use the literature to back your points, and so on and so forth. So we also have excellent, we have very good, we have satisfactory, we have basic, we have significant fail, we have substantial fail as well. So let's say, for example, under this, the first criteria, let's say you have excellent here. I'll put my comment and tell you why you did very well. Then under the second one, if you have basic, so you can see the excellent is maybe the first part of the assignment might be 10 mark. So what would be the excellent of the 10 mark? It would be like, let's say 8 or let's say 7 anyway. So you have 7 here already. And if under the knowledge and understanding, you've got satisfactory, which is just 5. So here I'll put 5. So 7 plus 5, you can see what we have there. Then I move to the second one. The second one is critical analysis and application. And under the critical analysis and application, you are expected to make use of the literature. So you are expected to make use of the literature at that moment. And in using the literature, you are expected to have a kind of debate. So there is a kind of debate you are expected to have there. And that is where we have issue with some of us as an international student, because we don't know how we debate. How do I map up all this literature together? How do I defend myself? How do I say what author A is saying? And how do I join it together with what author B is saying? And how do I reflect on it and come up with my own idea? And that is one of those things we face as an international student, but it's not a big deal at all. What we are looking for is to see your idea, to know if you know what you are doing. And if we can see basic things, then you wouldn't have any problem at all. So this is number 3. Number 3 is the critical analysis and application. For example, if you are given a topic, I'm going to show you some example. We're expected to see how you make use of the literature. For example, if you are informed to use a theory, so you can adopt a theory to back up your point and come to a conclusion. Then if at the end of the day too, if you score like, let's say under outstanding, we also mark that, then we'll add it with your mark. We'll add it with your mark. So let's say we say the first one is excellent, which is 7, let's say 7. Then the second one is just satisfactory, which is 5. I'm talking about the mark is over 10 now. Then the last one is your evaluation and conclusion, providing summary of what you have done and everything, and coming to give a kind of recommendation as well. So if you've got that, then let's say you score, maybe you have satisfactory again, which is 5 over 10, for example. So at the end of the day, you will see that we will just add the whole thing together and give you the summary of your mark. So I'm going to show you how that works anyway. So this is what the first thing you need to do if you are giving any assignment. You need to study the criteria, see what the lecturer is required from you. Then another thing, aside from this criteria, you need to also make inquiry from the lecturer. If you are not sure of the structure or how to go about it, email your lecturer. It's very important. And many of us as an international student, we don't want to do that, which I think is not right. You have every right to ask questions. Drop your tutor or your lecturer a mail. Please, I am not sure of how to go about this. Or if you've got any idea, just email the lecturer that, oh, I've got this idea about this assignment. I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong. He or she will definitely respond and tell you, oh, maybe you need to include this, or maybe you need to remove this, or you need to do this. So it is very important. So that is why when you are in the lecture room, listening to your tutor or listening to your lecturer very well. In the course of teaching you, they might just be telling you, should in case in the exam, if I decided to give you this, or in your assignment, this is what I want you to do, and this is what I want you to take note of. All those things are very important. And that is why I love some students, when a lecturer is teaching, they jot down everything that is being said by the lecturer, which I think is very good, because at the end of the day, I will never go outside what I'm teaching. I will not go outside. I will definitely pick everything out of what I've taught you so far. So that is why it is very important, just giving you that side advice, that you make sure jot everything down, whether the one that you think is useful or it is not useful. Make sure you have a jotter and you make note of everything. Then you might need them at the end of the day. So having said that, assignments, what is assignment? An assignment is just a test of knowledge, just like an exam. So it's also a test of knowledge to see if you're actually following the course and if you can apply the course to any situation. So we want to test your idea. And I've said it before that I prefer assignment to examination because examination is not a true test of knowledge to me. That is my own personal opinion, don't quote me. But assignment, you'll be able to do some research, then do a kind of application to what you are doing. So that is why I believe that assignment is very important and we need to follow that. So here I've got different type of assignment or different type of assessment. I've got essay, I've got report, I've got presentation, which is individual and group presentation. I've got reflective tasks, I've got case studies, and I've got group work. So I think the one that is most common here is essay and report. Why in some courses, reflective tasks is also important. And especially we do a lot of reflective tasks when it comes to the undergrad, because we want them to reflect on what they are studying and to see the practical application of what they are doing. And presentation also, we do a lot of presentation with master students as well, especially when it comes to group presentation and individual presentation. But under the group presentation, we find out there was a survey we did, and we find out that majority of students, when it comes to group presentation, it's only one student that usually do the whole work, or one or two. For example, if I've got a group of 5 students and I decided to give them an assignment, you will find out that not all of them will contribute to what they are doing. Some will just ask, how much will it cost? I'm ready to pay. Let me just pay and you guys should do something and we'll make presentation. So, and which is not good. And the reason why we are doing good presentation is to see how you can work as a team, how you can work as a team, to achieve a particular objective of your organization. So you should be able to learn how to work together. And that is why, for those who have been into my class, you will see that I love asking students to work in groups as a team member. And even though if I'm lecturing, for example, aside from tutorial, at some point, I usually divide my students into groups for them to have a kind of discussion, to rub minds together and to come up with a kind of conclusion. So if you are here and they give you group work and you don't contribute, it is not good. You need to improve on that. So case studies, and I think this has to do with probably the engineering student. You might be given case studies as well to develop or to interpret. Then we have the group work. The group work is just what I've mentioned. It might not be a presentation. It might just be giving you a topic under essay or report and asking you to submit. And in all of these cases, this type of assignment that I'm talking about, you will have a situation whereby the tutor or the lecturer will ask you to write just 8,000 words and 2,005 words or 2,000 words. And you will see that it is sometimes very difficult to write. And I've said it before, our problem is that we will towards the end of the assignment, which is very, very bad. It is not a good practice. So the day that you are given the assignment, start working on it. Even though if it is just 200 words you want to write it and leave it, go and enjoy yourself, come back again, write something. And before you know it, within a month, you will have finished your assignment and you can just keep it somewhere. And I love my students to send me the draft of the assignment for me to look at before making the final submission. And some lecturer will say, no, we don't do that. Just write, I'm not giving you feedback, write and submit. But to me, to help students, you can send a draft of your assignment and let's look at it and we give you feedback. And once I give you feedback, oh, okay, this is where you need to make adjustment. You should be rest assured that if you can follow that pattern, you will score a very high grade or high mark in that course. So it is very important. Don't wait towards the end of the assignment. Once you are given an assignment, start immediately. And like I've said, you can just write 100 words, even 50 words, keep it somewhere, come back. And I'm going to show you step by step. So we are going to be looking at how to write essay and report today. So because those are the most popular type of assessment aside from examination. So we're going to start with essay today, and essay present a discussion or argument about a topic using evidence to present the author's perspective on the topic. So you'll be given a topic, and what we want to see is your perspective about this topic. And I'm going to show you some example of some of the work I've marked and some of the good report and some of the bad report, so that you'll be able to use that opportunity to improve yourself. Like we used to say, I said it, that sometimes we said there is no right or wrong answer, but in some cases, we usually have a right answer. And however, there is an ability that you've got to defend yourself, and in which you need to always defend yourself in anything you are doing. Whether you are writing report or you are writing essay, you need to know how to go about it, and you should be able to defend what you are doing. So an essay is just a discussion that we want from you. Discuss this topic and give us your view about it. And in giving us your view, you are not going to be based only on your idea. You are going to be based on the academic literature. So you need to go back to the internet. Everything you are looking for in any course is there in the internet. Everything you are looking for is there. So you can easily go to the internet and search for some of the materials that will be useful for you. And in this seminar, I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, the first thing is, if you could remember the criteria, I showed you presentation and structure. So the first thing you need to determine is the structure of your assignment. So if you are given a topic, what will be the structure? But the general structure for any essay is what you are seeing on your screen. So the first thing is the introduction. And the second thing is the body. And the third thing is the conclusion. And we have the reference. The references, rather. So in the introduction, I'm going to look at that, the body, the conclusion, and the references. So this is very important. And please, this time around, you need to pay attention to what I'm telling you, please. It's very important. So we've got the body, that is the structure. So you need to first of all determine of your assignment. The one that I think is general is the introduction. The introduction, the conclusion is there, but the body, you determine that. And under the body, you can have subheadings, for example. You can decide to have a paragraph. But I, as a lecturer, I prefer that you have subheadings rather than having just paragraph till the end of your assignment, to the end. I don't like that because it will look boring to me. But if you can have a kind of subheadings, that will be great. Let's start with the introduction. So here in the introduction, you start with So here in the introduction, you start with a broad overview of the topic. So including the small amount of background information, and a brief explanation of why this topic is important enough for us to pay attention to it. It is then provide an overview of how you will answer the question. And often by telling the reader what your perspective is on the topic, and then outline what the structure of the essay will be. So it is very important that you give us a background to the topic. Let me show you something now. And I've got a sample here. So let's look at this sample. So this is, please, unmute Adewale, please. Mute yourself. Okay. So let's look at this. Let's look at this topic. You are giving, let's assume that you are giving this topic. So this is an individual course of 2,005 words, excluding the title, the content page, the table figures, appendix, and bibliography. What 100 of the Moodle mark? So choose one of the logistics or supply chain management function from the following list and critically discuss how these functions transformed by technologies. That is robotics, Internet of Things, data analytics.
Sorry, sir, you're breaking.
I am breaking?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Can we all hear now? Or it will be your internet?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. So now look at it. Choose one of these logistics and or supply chain management function. For those who are doing supply chain, please take note of it. From the following list and critically discuss how these functions transform technologies, robotics, Internet of Things, data analytics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, using actual examples. That is, the functions of logistics are listed. They are the one from A to E. Those are the functions. Then, sorry, I need to go to the next thing. Now, this is what I asked you to do. Highlight key benefits and challenges for our suppliers and our customers through the adoption of technologies using actual examples. Present your argument in a clear structure. Now, let's go back to the introduction. This is the introduction. So given that example that I've just shown you, the first thing you need to do is to just present an overview of what supply chain function is all about, and probably present an overview of what those technologies, well, I'm going to show us again what the technologies is all about. Just a very short paragraph. You don't have to tell a story there. So having done that, don't forget that you were asked to pick. You were asked to pick. You were asked to choose just one. So choose just one. So in your introduction, you are going to tell the lecturer, this is what I've been asked to do, and I am going to be picking robotics, for example. And I'm going to see how robotics has helped inventory planning and control. That is my focus. So your focus is, you were asked to choose just one logistics function from the following list and critically discuss how this function transformed by technologies. And what are these technologies? They are the one you are seeing. Using actual example, and I've given you the supply chain function, which are inventory planning, demand planning, transportation, warehouse, and customer service. So the first thing you need to do is understand that question very well. Because our problem is that we don't sometimes understand the question. We just go straight. If you are not clear of the question, speak to your lecturer or speak to your academic advisor. So that is the first thing. You were asked to pick logistics function. So if I am the one, I might decided to pick transportation, for example. Then I will tell in the introduction, I'm going to tell my lecturer that based on the question, I am going to be looking at transportation, and I'm going to pick how artificial intelligence, for example, has impacted transportation. That is what I'm doing under the introduction. So that is what your introduction. Don't forget, I told her that the first thing is just provide a kind of background. Based on that question, provide a background. Then having done that, then tell the tutor or the lecturer, this is what I'm doing. So that is the first step. Then the second step is to now tell the tutor or the lecturer that this is how I'm going to attempt that question under your introduction. For example, you might say in a paragraph or just a paragraph within the introduction. Therefore, based on this, the first section of this report or of this essay, we talk about the meaning of supply chain. The second section, we talk about the technologies. The third section, we talk about how technology has impacted transportation, for example. And the last session, we give an actual example. Don't forget that I asked them to use actual example of how technology has impacted the transportation. Then the last session is the conclusion. Simple. I want to see that in the introduction. So seeing that alone in the introduction, I will be happy that truly you know what you are doing. But most of us, we don't do this. We just go straight. We give a kind of background, and you don't tell the tutor what you are dealing with. You need to rephrase the question again and tell the tutor that, oh, this is what I'm focusing on in this assignment, and this is how I'm going to deal with it based on the following section. Simple. Maybe if it is 1,000 words, for example, you can just use 50 words to do all that, or 100 words to do all that. Then before you move to the body. So that is the first thing. So in every assignment or in every essay, you need an introduction. Very important. And in your introduction, you will do what I've said. Just make sure you introduce the topic. This is the topic, and this is what I am doing, and this is how I'm going to do it. So it's all about what and how. What, how, what, how. So if you've got any question, you can just stop me and just unmute yourself and ask. And let's look at the body. Don't forget I said the first structure, presentation, the first one is the introduction. And the second one is the body. The second one is the body. And under this body, I've said it that
Can I ask a question on the introduction, or we should ask at the end?
Please, you can ask.
Okay. My question is, are you also going to teach us on how to write the introduction for the report, or is
yes.
way?
After this is report.
Okay, fine. But still, I should ask you for the essay. Okay. In the introduction part, is there any need for us to also reference
the topic?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just rephrase the topic.
No, referencing.
No, you don't have to reference the topic. But like, you can have a reference in your introduction.
Yeah, like let's say if I got some of the information from the journals or textbooks.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do that, yes. It's not out of place.
All right.
But it also depends on the number of words. For example, if you are just given 1,000 words, you were asked to write 1,000 words. You don't want to say a lot of things under the introduction, but you just need to give me idea under the introduction. So the introduction will tell me you know what you are doing. But once your introduction is rubbish, I might not even bother to read the remaining one, because I'm not enjoying your introduction. I will look at it that what am I going to get in the other one? So I might just glance through, which is not ideal anyway, but I should be happy with your introduction. So cultivate the habit of making your lecturer or your tutor to be happy with your introduction.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Please, the introduction. Normally, how many pages are we supposed to do the introduction?
Okay,
like how many words?
Yeah, thank you. Like I've said, it's depend on the number of words. So like if it is 1,000 words, I've mentioned that your introduction should not be more than 100 words or 50 words, but it depends on how you can manage it. So you don't say a lot of things under introduction. But if it is 2005, for example, I expected that you should give me about 200 to 300 words under your introduction, telling me the background, introducing the topic, and telling you should be able to tell me what you are going to focus on and how you want to do it. Simple as ABC.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So under the body, I've said it that the body comprised of many subheadings, and each discussing one main idea that relates to the overall assignment question. So you need to now determine that. And the question is, how do I determine that? Especially given a topic I don't understand. So let me come back here. So let's look at this topic. And practically, who can just unmute, if you can just unmute yourself and tell me what you are going to include in the introduction. Just say it. Or you can type it on the chat. So that, because I love to do things in a practical way, so that I know you are getting what I'm saying. So can somebody just unmute and just tell me what you are going to do under the introduction, then before we move to the body. Who can just unmute? So look at that topic very well. Just tell me what you are going to do under the introduction. Yeah.
I would describe some of the background of the topic that I've chosen and ensure that I've written in 100 words or so or more the direction that I'm going with it, so that the lecturer is aware that I'm doing it correctly, right?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. So that is what you are going to do. Now let's come back to the body of the essay. So what are those things, the subheadings that you are going to have under this? So who can just mention, you can type it and put it on the chat. What are the headings that you think will be under the body? What is the first thing that you think you are going to put under this?
I think, let's say definitions.
Definition of what?
The main topic. For example, if you are using transportation.
Yeah.
So you have to define what transportation is.
Okay, what transportation is, yes.
Yeah. So I think it's one of the things you have to do in the main body.
Thank you. So what transportation is all about? But you might not just put it definition, you might just said overview of transportation system, and you just discuss briefly. Then what else again? What are you going to put again? Who can tell me? Just unmute yourself. What else again?
Well, I think when you are doing the introduction, you mentioned how we can tackle the introduction.
Exactly.
You introduce what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
You list down how you are going to tackle those tasks.
Yeah.
Then what you have listed should be the subheading.
Thank you. Should now be, thank you very much. So what you have listed in your introduction, that's what I'm looking for. What you have listed in your introduction should now be the body. Because in your introduction, you've told me this is what your first session will focus on. This is what your second session will focus on. And this is what your third session will focus on. So I expected you to also follow that. So if I'm now seeing something strange that you didn't talk about in the introduction, I will be somehow, I want to see why are you talking about this when you don't even tell me in the introduction. So you have mentioned those things. For example, you might say that your first section will focus on what transportation is all about. And you are going to talk about different types of transportation in your second section. The third section might be some of the technologies that has been adopted in the transportation sector. So after that, but however, out of these technologies, I am looking at how robotics as imparted transportation system. So now you will now go again and look at robotics. You can talk about, give a kind of brief background about robotics, for example, then link it to how it has imparted transportation. An example of that is how, what is the name of this transportation? Like you don't need a driver. In the UK now, in the EU, you don't need a driver to drive a vehicle. There is a self-driving vehicles. So it's robotic in nature. So you can pick about that. That is a good example to use for me in this case. So you mentioned that, but you are not doing that based on your knowledge alone. You are going back to the literature, search those information, and you are writing them down, and you are putting the name of the author. For example, according to Kolawole 2020, Kolawole defined transportation as a means of movement, for example. However, the definition of Kolawole was tackled by Adebisi, for example, 2021. And Adebisi provided a different definition of transportation. And he stated this is an example I'm giving you now, a critical example. So you can see from that example, you are using both Kolawole and you are also using Adebisi, for example. And at the end of the day, you might say, oh, based on these two definitions, I am going to define transportation as so, 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 and so. So that is your own reflective point out of these two authors that you have quoted before. So your own reflective point is that based on these two people that have defined transportation, I am going to define transportation in my own way as this and that. So, or you might also decide that I am adopting the definition by Kolawole 2021, that I am going to use the definition from Kolawole throughout this essay to define, to tell you the meaning of transportation. And that is the critical aspect of it, which I think is very difficult for some of us. So you need to go back and forth and look at what this author is saying about this topic and look at what the other author is saying about this topic. What is your own reflective point? It's not that you're just quoting them, you are saying this, you don't provide anything. No, there should be a kind of link, a kind of argument, or I am accepting this, what they are saying, or this is my own stand based on that. And that is what we want to see under the body. So you need to give us those ideas. So like, it depends on your topic. I'm going to take some topic, then we'll look at it and see how you can answer them. So you give subheadings, then you give a kind of paragraph for each. And if you need to analyze, you analyze. And that is what you do under the body. So, but you need to determine that. You need to determine what you are going to focus on first at the introduction, introductory level. Then you now focus on them under the body. So do we have any question based on the body of essay? Okay. So now let's look at the conclusion. In the conclusion, you are going back to the introduction. Adela, what's your question, please?
Can I ask, please, about the definition?
Yeah.
For example, now if I'm given two different definitions, does it have to come in two different paragraphs?
Or... No. Like, for example, like the example I gave you, Kolawole 2010 divine transportation as a means of movement.
Okay.
But however, there is a different opinion from this definition.
Okay.
And as a result of this, Fadila divine transportation as so and so.
Okay.
So you are still continuing with the same statement, but you've gotten an argument there. So I will be happy that there is an argument. So you are not just coming to me and say that Kolawole divine transportation as so and so, and you stop there.
Okay.
You can as well stop there, it's fine, but the next statement will determine how maybe you are going to stop or you are not stopping from there. If you are providing a further argument or you are not providing a further argument.
Okay, thank you.
Are you getting it? Yeah. So That is about the body.
Yeah.
Now let's look at the conclusion. So in the conclusion, you are going back to the, what is it called? The introduction. So you are now telling me that this is what you say you are going to do in the introduction, and you have done it. So you've been able to define transportation. You've been able to see how transportation has been impacted by robotics, for example. And that is what you have done. Simple as ABC. So if you were asked to provide recommendation, you can now give a kind of recommendation that based on what you have done, I have the following recommendation, and this is what and what should be done. But sometimes recommendation comes when it comes to report, not essay, except specifically specified by the guideline. But if it is not specified by the guideline, just give a conclusion. Go back to the introduction. Tell the tutor or the lecturer that this is what you have done. This is what you say you are going to do, and this is what you have done. Simple as ABC. And your conclusion shouldn't be more than, it depends on the number of words again, but it shouldn't be more than 100 words. Just tell them, go back, summarize everything that you have done, and submit. Is that taken? Are we there? So that is about the essay. I've shown you. Then in the conclusion, never introduce new information. Thank you for that. So in the conclusion, don't make a mistake by introducing another thing. You don't have to introduce anything. So you are only telling me what you have done, not to give another topic entirely. Refer to the research or ideas of others, as this you already have been covered in the body of the essay. So you don't have to tell me a new thing. I want to see what you have done. And I will be pleased and I will be happy to mark you right. So that is about essay. So we have said that essay, it involves introduction, where you introduce the topic, you tell me what you are going to do, you provide a kind of background, then you go back to the body, tell me what you are going to do in the body. The subheadings are there. In some essay, the lecturer might ask you not to do any subheadings, just go straight to the point. In that case, you just go to the body. You can have a title for the body, just write paragraph, then after writing the paragraph, you go to your conclusion, you submit. Now, you don't just submit without the reference list, and that is where we have an issue. So I'm going to post that later. So we might have a problem with reference because some of us as international students, we are not aware that it's an offense for you not to provide reference when you are writing essay. Sorry. Please, Olushi, help us on mute, please. Yes, at times it's very good. You might want to write your introduction at the end of the essay because it will provide you overview of what you have done. So sometimes, but to me, I don't like writing introduction after my papers or after anything. So I want to write the introduction first to see what I'm going to do in the assignment or in the paper. At this stage now, I write paper. So I want to see, and it's the same thing too that we do during the essay, that if you are writing paper journals, you also do the same thing. So I want to write my introduction first. But if I need to now amend, I might amend it. But some people, they prefer to write the essay first, then before going back to the introduction. Just determine the one that works for you. So that is about that. So the reference list is very important. And I think in the reference list, we have what is called the Harvard style. The Harvard style, it's what it is required. And I'm going to show you some of my comments to my students towards the end of this series. I will usually tell them that your reference does not tally with the required reference list, which is the Harvard list. And if you don't have the required Harvard list, it's going to score you. We're going to remove some marks. That alone is 10 marks if I'm marking. So if you have a correct one, you have 10 marks without any issue. But if you don't have a correct one, you don't have any marks for that. So we don't just mark, some people will say, oh, I don't have a good command of English. We don't mark English. For example, I don't mark English. I want to see your idea. I want to see what you are doing. So if I can see the structure and see what you are doing, then I'm okay with what you are doing. But I can just ask you, I can advise you that you can use some grammar check online to check your English or to prove it at the end of the day. But I'm not going to mark you low because of that, except if it is too much. But if it is just what I can overview, then I don't have issue with that. If you can have a kind of coherent and you can link your ideas, then I don't have issue with that. So that is about essay, but your reference is very important. I'm going to show you an example of that towards the end. So let's look at the, okay, sorry. So this is the, what's going on here? I'm coming. I thought I've got a report. Sorry, let me just stop this presentation and check something, please. Because I thought I have a report there. And I don't know why report is not coming out. So the next one is to just look at report and how to deal with report. So if you've got any question, you can just ask me. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm trying to share my screen so that we can get back to our class. Can we all see that?
It's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Sample 1.
Okay, thank you. So let's look at report. And here we said report. A report provides clearly organized information about a situation or problem under investigation. And the information may come from your experience, your reading, your research, your experiments or measurements conducted in the laboratory or out in the field. Now, when we're talking about report, what is the difference between report and essay? Essay, you are just given a topic to deal with. Then they give you a number of words. They also give you a number of words when it comes to report as well. But in the report, it has to do with a situation. For example, and I ask you that based on your experience as an operations manager in company in OAK Initiative UK, for example. So how will you advise your director to improve their processing or how they deliver their service? That is a report. It's not an essay. So what you are doing is you are giving an advice. So you are advising your boss, or it might be in a situation whereby there is an issue and you were asked to investigate that issue. So you need to provide a kind of report to the company or to the management. How will you go about it? So that is what report is all about. So it is different from essay. And in the essay, sometimes the question will reflect that it is an essay. But at times it will not be written that it's an essay. They can just give you a question that discuss this topic. So it was not written there that it's an essay. You were just asked to discuss, but you should know that is an essay. But if it is a report, they will ask you that, can you advise Or can you provide the report of the investigation? So you should know, even though if it is not written that is a report, you should know that that is a report. So that is very important. So that is how you can differentiate between essay and a report. And your tutor or your lecturer will definitely inform you that this is a report that I want you to do, or I want you to do an essay. So you are giving a kind of advice, a kind of report based on investigation. So your report may have different structure depending on discipline and the context, but a fairly typical example is presented below. So you can be given a scenario to report about. I am not sure if I have it there, I don't have it there, but under that report, what you are going to have is that you are going to have an executive summary. So you can write it down because it's not here, I don't think it's here. So you're going to have a kind of executive summary, or you are going to have abstracts. So your executive summary summarize everything about your findings. So it is different from introduction. In most cases, we present introduction also in the executive summary, which is different. So your executive summary summarizes everything you have done in the assignment. You tell us the problem, and this is what you were asked to do, and this is what you have done, and this is your findings. So reading your executive summary is just enough for me to read, even without reading the whole assignment, because your executive summary should provide an overview of what we ask you to do. And the same thing with abstracts. Your abstract, you also provide everything. Now, having done that, you also have introduction. So your introduction also focus is just like that of essay, where you talk about the issue at hand. Then after that, you also introduce how you want to tackle the issue, the direction you'll be taking. And you also tell us that the section also focus on this, section 1, section 2, section 3. So that is what you are going to do under that. Then you will now have the body. It's now depend on what you are asked to do. So the body now varies. So for example, if you were asked to investigate why, okay, what is the difference between executive summary and the introduction? I think I've said it. The executive summary summarizes everything about your work, about what you have done. So reading your executive summary, as you have an overview of what the report is all about, even without reading the report. As you have an overview of what the entire report is all about, even without reading it. So while your introduction, you are telling me about the topic, for example, about the issue and how you are going to tackle it. But in your executive summary, you are telling me this is what you have done. But in your, no, you don't have to reference executive summary. It's your own words. You don't put reference there. It's very wrong. But in the introduction, you can put reference. So in the abstract, for example, I said abstract and executive summary, they are almost the same. You also don't give a kind of, what is it called? A kind of reference there. So under the body of your report is not depend on what you were asked to do. So from the management perspective, you were asked to investigate a staff that is not coming to work on time. What are those things you are going to put there? So you need to decide and see. Then put those things there. Then your conclusion is you now tell me this is what you are asked to do and this is what you have done. And before conclusion, you need to provide recommendation. So that is why recommendation is very important when it comes to report. So it's based on the scenario, it depends on the scenario. If the scenario is for you to investigate a particular staff, for example, so in your recommendation, you can just put it there that based on this investigation, I hereby recommend the following. Number 1, sack the staff. Number 2, you can provide a kind of staff welfare And number 3, you can do this. And number 4, you can do this. Simple as ABC. And you might want to ask, do I need to also reference my recommendation? No, you don't have to reference your recommendation, because your recommendation is now the reflective aspect of it. You are not just doing the assignment you are doing just for fun. We are looking at your own application. We are looking at how you are able to reflect. We are looking at your own idea. Should, in case if you find yourself in that situation when you leave school, how are you going to tackle it? So you will not be depending on reference every time. Yeah, reference is very good, but what of the reflective aspect of it? So you need to also reflect under the recommendation that this is what I'm going to do if I am in this shoe, and that is what I'm recommending to the company to do. And then you provide your conclusion, and also you have a list of reference. So you put reference there that this is the people that you've been able to look at their work. So that is about that on report. Now, let me now show you a typical example. If you've got any question, you can ask, please. If you've got any question, please ask so that I can deal with it. So I want to show you a typical example of one of the courses I marked recently and my feedback. One of the difficult tasks when it comes to lecturing is to give student feedback because you've got different ideas from them, and you might be writing another essay if care is not taken, but you just need to do it so that they can use it to improve. So I will be sharing a typical example of one of those things, one of the feedback I gave. I'm not going to share the title with you so that you don't take advantage of that. And we all say this.
Yes.
Now, if you look at this example of report, okay, let me see. So if you look at this side of my this document, you will see Grammarly. Grammarly is an English a grammar correction that will correct your grammar. So I advise students to also use it. If you want to use it, you can use it free of charge. So you can see there so that myself, okay, I'll do that, don't worry. So you can see the Grammarly there, and you can see that I'm also using it. So it's what you can as well use to correct your English. So let me zoom this out. Now, this is so a typical feedback, probably for those who are in the University of Bradford, a typical feedback will look like this. So if you look at this feedback, you will see the presentation and structure. So you can see that, thank you for submitting your assignments, good presentation and structure. You have shown an excellent understanding of the assessment criteria and the required information. Well done. You can see I even put it there, well done. So I'm happy. I'm happy with what you have done. So seeing this, I am really, really happy with what you have done. Then I now move to the content. So the content is all about technology as well. So I enjoy reading your introduction. In your introduction, you introduce the concept of change, and you link the concept to innovation with some practical examples. You also inform the reader of the focus of each section of your write-up. This is very nice. Well done. You can see the student will be happy that, oh, the student will be very happy, you know that. And your content align with the assessment criteria. Don't forget the criteria I show you. That is what I'm talking about here. you started with a good introduction. You know, I'm just happy with the introduction. So you started with a good introduction. So it was nice seeing some background about the selected company in your introduction. Also, you have identified the technologies that have impacted the selected company. You have critically analyzed the competitive advantage model. That is now is the theory. So it is very important too, when you are giving an essay, look for a theory. The lecturer might mention a theory under that topic while teaching you. Just go back and pick the theory. And you have linked it with the concept of cloud computing and AI from the case company perspective. However, so you can see the negative aspect now. Anything you see, however, you have not really linked how some of these technologies, that is cloud computing and AI, had impacted the selected organization to create a disruptive innovation with practical example. This is what you have not done. Yes, I am happy with what you have done before, but you have not done this. And that is the focus of the assessment. Also, some of your statements could have been referenced. In addition, when quoting an author, you need to include the page number and the year in the in-test reference. You discuss too much about engineering-related concepts. I don't have interest in engineering-related concepts. For some of us who are doing AI here, under management, and you are giving an essay, you are talking about engineering, I don't have interest. I'm not from that background. This is management. So talk about the management stuff, not about engineering. So in this case, when I was marking this course, I was so tired because the guy was just mentioning engineering 204, machine 204, technology. I don't have interest in that. So you can see, you discuss too much about engineering-related concept. This is not bad, but you could have made it minimal. So you can see that I'm not saying that what you have done is bad, but however, you could have just make it a very minimal discussion. So the discussion around the convergence of technology and how it has become a disruptive innovation was unclear in your discussion. Your conclusion was fine, but some reflective points could have been raised. So you can see this is the content of the whole thing. And that is where we have interest in. Then your similarity interest. Your similarity index is 24% from the Turnitin. We show it is highly original piece of work. And you have not cut and pasted other people's wording and claim it as yours, your own. Reference. Your hints follow the Harvard-Bradford style. We have what's called Harvard-Bradford style. But your how test reference, which is the one at the end of the test, should not be numbered. And it needs to follow the Harvard reference. Overall, you have done well. So this is a typical feedback that I've given a student. So if I may ask, what do you think that student will score based on that feedback? What do you think? If somebody can just unmute and tell me what you think the student will score.
Like 80.
Okay, why do you think he or she will score 8?
Yeah, because it shows that you're satisfied with it, with the work he or she did.
So you can see from the introduction, you can see I was happy from the introduction. Though he made some mistakes, but I'm not looking at that alone, but he has done well overall. You can see that I even put it there, overall, you have done well. So I think this student, or let me see, students for, I think 70%. So let me show you another example that's called below the required mark. Then if you have any question, you can just ask or I pull that out. So if you've got any question, just ask. So do we understand how that works, right?
Yes.
I'm coming, I'm just trying to see if I can get...
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Please go ahead. Please.
Okay. I don't know if I quoted you well. Is the executive summary and abstract the same?
Yes, almost the same. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
The executive summary and abstract, yes, almost the same.
All right.
Sorry, I want to show you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, go ahead.
So can we have the two in a report, or if we are going by the executive summary, it's executive summary, or if you choose to go with the abstract, then it's abstract?
Yes, you can have the two. It's just if they ask you, they would definitely tell you to do executive summary for those under management.
Okay.
Nobody will ask you to do abstract because you are not writing a journal. But your lecturer may say, oh, provide an abstract. So you may be asked to provide an abstract, but it depends on the lecturer. But in most cases, you will be asked to provide, what is it called? Executive summary, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, any other question? I'm trying to pull out a very bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello,
please.
good evening.
Good evening, Ushe.
Can I ask, in my own case,
yeah,
I normally have to do things like reflective writing, which is very different from like normal essays and stuff. So how do I approach the reflective writing, please?
So the reflective writing, we still follow the pattern that we have in terms of introduction. Tell us what you are doing and tell us how you want to do it. But in the reflective aspect of it, they may ask you to reflect on your role as a manager of company A and Z. So it's now depending, it's more of practical, it's more of what you have done, and you might not need a lot of references when it comes to that, because you are talking about yourself, except otherwise stated. So except otherwise stated, you might not need a lot of reference when it comes to that. But if it is not being stated, you might just include a bit. But its reflective point is all about you. It's all about what you have experienced, and it's all about what you want to do. Is that okay?
So that's always my argument. Like if you're reflecting on yourself or what you've experienced, what your experiences are. So why do you not get high grades? Because it's your own personal experience.
Why do you
I
not?
don't know if I'm making sense. My background is a bit noisy, maybe a bit later.
Do you want to type it? Do you want to type it?
All right, I can try.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm trying to look for a very poor grade. I have to go to, I'm coming, let me just do that. So any other question? Any other question when it comes to essay and writing? Can we have a topic? Can we have any topic, essay topic? They can type it down. Let's see. Any
Hello,
essay
Doctor.
topic.
Doctor, good evening.
Good evening, Patricia.
Apart from the introduction and body and the conclusion, I thought you wanted to show us an example of the Harvard referencing style. I'm more interested in that because I can't get it.
Okay, so I'm going to show you that. Just give me a few minutes. So, I'll show you that. Do we have any other question? Any other question under the essay? I'm trying to see if I can get a very poor, but I'm very generous when it comes to grading. I don't know why. Maybe because I used to be an international student before. So I don't usually mark my student down. It is difficult for you to see me marking down my student. So I couldn't find anything bad here, but I would search for one. So anybody that want to ask questions, you want to ask questions? Who do we reference? Okay, so I'm coming.
No problem. I have a lot of portrait.
So let me just share my screen.
And let's show you the Nigerian person.
So let me show you something. So this is Google Scholar. So I don't know if we can see that. Can we see my screen?
Yes. Still loading.
Okay, so can we see that? So this is Google Scholar. So I want to see if I can get one of my papers. So if you know the author, you can just type the name. That's my full name, and this is one of my papers. And let me open it. So this is one of my papers, and it's addressing food waste and loss in the Nigerian food supply chain, use of Lean Six Sigma, and double loop learning. Now, just to show those who are doing reports. So this is abstract. This is my abstract, and in the abstract, you can see food waste and loss, although a growing problem in the world. There's a limited research specifically from developing country context. In this research, we investigate blah, 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 blah. We propose the use of Lean Six Sigma coupled with double loop learning to reduce food wastage. Using case study strategy, we employ the perception. So see, in the executive summary, you provide a brief background, and that's what I've done when you are writing report. So you can see, this is a brief background to the problem. And I've also highlighted the problem. Please mute yourself, please. I've also highlighted the problem at the same time. And also, I have also said what I am going to do. So in this research, you can see in this research, I am going to do this. In this research, we investigate. This is what we do. Not this is what I am going to do. You don't do that in the executive summary. You do that in the introduction. This is what I'm going to do, will be in the introduction. But in the executive summary, you tell us what you have done. So in this research, we investigate FWL in the processing and distribution stage of the Nigerian food supply chain. We propose, this is what I've done also, we propose the use of Lean Six Sigma tools coupled with double loop learning to reduce food wastage. Now, what is my method, my strategy? Using case study strategy, we explored the perception, understanding, and experience of FSC stakeholders on the effective of Lean tools and DLL to reduce food wastage in 2 companies. Now, this is what we found. This is our solution. We found that food waste, we found awareness, identification of root causes of food wastage, and taking responsibility as the major step adopted by the case company to reduce food wastage. So we provide insight regarding how DMAR coupled with organizational learning while solving FA issue. So this is your executive summary. This is my executive summary. This is my abstract. This is, so if you are the reader now, you will understand that, oh, this is what you are going to see. This is what these guys have done. So that is what I expect to see when you give me executive summary. In the executive summary, you won't tell me that this is what, this is how you are going to do it. No. So having done that, let me show you a typical example of introduction. So this goes for those who are writing report, especially those who are asked to write executive summary. Take note of that. You can access that my book. Okay, so let me see if I have access. to the paper. Can you imagine? Okay, so let me just see something. So let me see if I can get my own copy of the paper. So as to show you, I will now show you the reference, the introduction, example of introduction. Then I will show you how to reference. Then I will take question because I've got another class at 7:30. So just give me a few minutes to open it. So if you've got any question, okay, benefits of career advancement on employee performance in banking sector. Okay, so that is a typical example of an essay. If you can look at it, so how do you think you're going to tackle this? So the first step there is to, I'm coming. Under that, the first step is to provide an introduction, just like I've said. Is it a report or an essay? Joy, can you tell us if it's a report or an essay?
It's a proposal, sir.
A proposal, okay. So the same thing that applicable to reports also applicable to report, to proposal. So you need to provide an executive summary when you are writing proposal, because in the executive summary you also tell us the overview of everything you have done in the proposal. So if it is a proposal, so the first thing is to have executive summary, then followed by introduction. So in the introduction, you tell us probably about the benefit if you are not given a guideline, because most proposal, your lecturer will give you a kind of guideline, what they want you to focus on, the structure. They will give you the structure. But should in case if you're not given the structure, so what you need to do is to just provide introduction. Then after giving the introduction, you will tell them, this is what you are going to propose in the introduction. Then you move to the body. So the first thing is benefits of career advancement on employee performance. You might want to discuss what is career advancement, for example, under your body. What is career advancement? Link career advancement, link it to performance. So now you link it again to the case study, because the case study here is, you were not told that there is a case study. The case study is banking sector. So you link it to the case study, which is the banking sector. How you believe that the career advancement can as well benefit the banking sector. So having done that, you can now list, if you've got any, for example, any theory or any model that talks about performance measurement, that talks about career advancement, you can as well use them. Your tutor will be very happy to see such a thing. So now you now link them. You can now propose that kind of model, that you can use this model for career advancement. You can use, for example, maybe stakeholders theory. I'm not saying you should use it, I'm just giving you an example. You look at stakeholders theory. So you look at stakeholder theories, you look at all those things, and you link it to how it will advance career. Then you can now have a proposal. The proposal is that they can go for training. Maybe, for example, identify some of the staff that don't have banking experience. You can send them for a training. You can propose an organization. You can say PwC, for example, they can do training, and the training will be minimal. They can do what is called work-based learning. Those are your proposal. The work-based learning is that you are working and you are studying. So you can even identify some of the training institutions that are doing that. So that is how you can tackle that for that question. So any other question? We asked to provide solution in a report. The solution have to be my opinion. You have to be critical about it, not only your opinion. So it's all about reflective, but you also need to look at what other people have done. Then before you reflect on it. So I'm trying to open my paper so that you can see an example of the introduction I'm talking about. So can we all see this? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So you can see the same thing I checked on Google Scholar is what I'm showing you now. This is my abstract, it's the same thing. Now look at my introduction. So my introduction stated that a report by blah, 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 blah. You can see how I started, giving background about the issue at hand. Your introduction comes first, not background. Your introduction first comes first. But it also depends. In some cases, you don't write background. You don't give any background. You do your background in your introduction. So in this case, I don't have any background. So what I did was to do my background in my introduction. But I will show you now. You can see I provided a kind of background, which is this. So I would suggest you get this paper and read it. So I provided a background. I continue. You can see my debates. You can see my debate. So for someone that is asking for reference, this is the Harvard Bradford referencing. So you can see that I've got the author, which is FOA 2013. You can see that. But before having the FOA, don't forget that I first of all tell my reader the meaning of FOA. You can see it here. So you can't just write FOA for me without telling me the meaning first. The abbreviation should not come first. Tell me the full meaning, then put the abbreviation. Then you have it there. So you can see. So telling you the FOA, you have the idea what FOA stands for. Then you can see how I did it. If you are having more than one author, you can use your hand. You don't have to. Some will ask you to use EndNote, but if you are master with Harvard reference, is what you can do without any technique or any software. Before I used to use EndNote, but in as much that everybody require Harvard, so I have mastered the techniques. When I'm writing, I do Harvard straight away. So you can see that. Then you can see this. Now, if you see, having said this, you can see that I quoted this person at the back. And this is my reflective point out of all this. You can see my reflective point. Food waste and loss is pertinent in both developing and developed countries. So, although there is a depth of research on how FA could be reduced at pre-tutorial stage, so you can see that. Then you can see how I am doing my reference. The name of the author and the year is what you need. The name of the author, comma, the year, bracket it. So because I am not quoting anybody, I am not claiming this thing is for me. It is not for me. And that is why I put the FOA 2013. You are expected to do the same thing if you are writing report or you are writing essay. So most previous studies had mainly focused on consumption and retailer stage from developed countries. You can see that there. So let me now come back to the introduction aspect of it, introductory aspect of it. So you can see now, this is what I'm talking about. Now this research, this my research, or this my report, or this my essay, or this my assignment, we provide empirical evidence on how DMARC promotes DLL towards food waste reduction. This is what we do. We contribute to the body of knowledge by doing this. We propose this. And however, the rest of the paper, the rest of the essay, the rest of the report is structured as follows. In the next session, we present the overview of supply chain management and review literature in LSS and DLS, followed by a conceptual framework. Methodology, including the data collection analysis, is followed is followed next. In section 4, we present our key findings in relation to the research question addressed. In section 5, we articulate our discussion by structuring it around our conceptual framework to highlight the importance of DLL for organization to tackle food wastage. We end our paper with practical implication and future research progression within the conclusion section. So you can see what your introduction should focus on. So you can see I started with background. It is very long because it's the number of words that is required is around, I think, 6,000 to 7,000 words. So that is why you can see that I've got a very long background. But what I'm just showing you, just give us a short introduction of your background, then move to this aspect, what you are going to do with, what you are going to deal with, then conclude in your introduction, your last paragraph, to tell me about this. And if you look at the structure, you will see that the structure tallies with everything I've said. It tallies with everything I've said. So this is the typical way of how to answer that. And if you have more than one author, for example, this is more than one author, you can see that I put Dora Elte 2013. So if it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, anything 3 authors, you put the name of the first author, Elte 2013. Elte stands for and others, and others. So that is what Elte stands for. But if it is just 2, this is how you write the 2. It's Matthias and Brown 2016. But if there are more than 2, if there are 3, you write it this way, Dora Elte 2013. But if there are just 2, you write it this way. And if it is just 1, you can see it's just this. But however, if you are starting a statement with the author, this is how to write it. You can see. So you can see, if you see this person discussed the genealogy of lean production. So I started with that. That is the argument. As indicated by this again, leans provide this. You can see Matthias and share that lean, blah, 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 blah. You can see that is a kind of the critical aspect of it that they are talking about when you are asked to write a critical writing. So you can see the argument there. You can see that even my words is not here at all. I'm just debating here. I'm debating here. And you also see some debate now. Let me also show you. You will see that Dora Elte presents a strong case for the adoption of lean in European food processing. They found this. Matthias did this. I'm reporting what other authors have done. So the author argued that the adoption of lean has been a macro. So you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to provide what they have done, what these people have done. So there is an argument I want to show you so that you will see how you argue as well. So this is an argument. So you can see this. Several opinions could be found with regards to the strategies used in the elimination of food wastage, such as this. Other strategies include this. However, that is an argument. However, scholars suggest that for supply chain to be effective, there is a need for the implementation of effective continuous improvement, which could only eliminate waste, but also improve organizational processes. Therefore, Lean Six Sigma have been evolving in the literature as tools that could be used to improve organizational activities. So you can see a kind of debate there. And that is what we want from you when you are writing your report or when you are writing your essay. So bring a lot of opinion together and have, so let's look at the literature review. If you look at the literature review, I've got the definition of supply chain. Supply chain is defined as this, for both efficiency, but the mistake we do make is that we will not put the page number. It is very important when you are quoting an author to put the page number. Many of us, we don't do that. So you include the page number. And as you can see, I included because I am quoting that, that paper, I put page 108, which means this definition, if you go to page 108, you will see it there. So it is very important when you are quoting, you will see that is one of my feedback in the feedback I shared with you. That was one of my feedback, that when you are quoting, put the page number. I can decide to go and check to see if it is real. A literature review, and you can see again that I quoted this person, and this is what I quoted, Waste and Buffard. I quoted this, and you can see I put page 377. So you can see how you can do that. This, I don't know why this came out like this. I think the author, this should have been seen altered, not all this. No, it's very wrong. Not all this. So you need to put it. I think that is the way. I think that was the way the journal. That was the way they wanted it. So having done that, let me show you the list of reference. So the list of reference. So you can see this is how to do your reference. The last one, the how text referencing. So you will see the author, the full name of the author. And because they are just two, you have the full name of both of them, the surname first, followed by their initial, and the second person, the year. So please mute yourself, Alice. So you will see the year, then you will see the topic. Sincerely, EndNotes will do this for you. To the case if you cannot do it. But I will tell you the easiest way again, to the case if you have an issue, if you don't have EndNotes. So you will just have the topic, which is this, the journal, then the year, the volume, and the page number. That is how to do a reference for Harvard, Bradford, because we've got Harvard, Bradford. That is how we want it for those who are at the University of Bradford. And for the general student, you can just follow this step and it's still the same thing. So let's see the one that is more than one. So the one that is more than one, you can see this. You can see it's still the same step. The name of the three authors. Sorry. Let me use this. So you can see the name of the three authors. The surname, the initial, you can see that. The year, the topic, then the publisher, then you can see the number of year. So you can do this and it's going to help you. Or alternatively, if you notice that you have any issue, just come to the Google Scholar. Make Google Scholar your friend. Just come to the Google Scholar, type the topic. This is my Google Scholar. This is one of my papers. So type the topic. Should in case you want to reference me, what you need to do, just look at this. Look at this. Just click on it. It will give you option. The option there is Harvard. You can see Harvard. Just copy the Harvard. Just copy it. Just copy the Harvard. Then go to the out test of your reference list. Go and paste it there. Then you have Harvard straight away. Should in case if you don't have access to EndNotes. So with your Google Scholar, so this is what I did. So let's say, let's have a topic on the benefits. Let's say benefits. Somebody posted benefits of career advancement. Career advancement. So let me say I'm having a topic. So you can search your topic, even your searching for literature. Maybe I would do another section for that because it might be difficult at times to know which of the literature you need to pick. So look at this. This is my search. Benefits of career advancement. Look at that. And oh, let's say I love this person. does being a clerkship director benefit academic career advancement? So this is the topic. And I want to reference this person. I want to reference this person. I'll first of all open it, then read the paper. So once I'm okay with it and I want to use the paper, I will just look at this icon. Just click on this icon and just copy this, copy it, go to your reference list and paste it there. And why in your out-test, you just write the name of the author. Just write the name of the author. You can do that even without looking at anything. So we said that if it is just one author, it's just the name, the surname of the author and the year. If there are more than 3, or if there are more than 2, you put ELTE. So you can just write them, write ELTE. Then just go to the Google Scholar. Then just go to Google Scholar, copy, and go to your alt-test and paste. Do we get that? Do we understand that?
Yes.
That technique?
Yes.
So just make your what is it called? Your Google Scholar. You can do that through your Google Scholar, but you need to search through your Google Scholar. So if you are using Google alone, you might not get the information. But through Google Scholar, you can as well copy and Harvard reference. You can copy it from there. So let me just dedicate this time for question and answer. So because I need to go, I've got another lecture by 7:30. So any question? Any question? I told Harvard is different from Bradford. No. It's the same thing. We just adopted that as Bradford Harvard, which is still the same thing. There is no difference between the two. So any question? I can't explain everything today. I can't explain everything today. Case study will come some other times. I think that is the one I can take for now. Can we have another section? I will try to see if we can have another section.
How can we contact you if we have questions to ask?
How you can contact me? You can contact me through my email.
Okay.
Through my email.
Okay, sir.
My email, yes.
What's your email, please? Can you write it for us, please?
Okay, so let me just put it there. Don't worry.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this session.
So any question? Yeah, so I will try and see if I can post the seminar. Then you can get it from there. So that is my email. And like I've said, I did this seminar as not as a lecturer, but as a part of OAK team or OAK team. And for those who just joined us, let me just give you a bit of background on that as well. So any other question, if you got any question? No, reference does not count. Reference does not count. So you can't have reference and you tell me it is not part at all. So it doesn't count at all. So your reference is different from, is exclude of the word can't, but it's something that we need to mark. Do we have to do literature review? It depends on what we have to do. So some lecturer will have to do a kind of literature review, but it depends. If you are asked to do literature review, go ahead and do it. If not, you don't have to bother yourself with literature review. So like I've said, I did this seminar under OAK Initiative, and I've said that OAK Initiative is a registered organization here in the UK. And if you want to know more about it, you can go to that website that is showing on your screen, which is www.okkolawole.com. And if you want to join us and be part of our volunteer, just go to that and go to career icon, and you can join us there. Then we would love to welcome you. If you want to do this also for other students, you are welcome. In the next few years also, I will provide training for you and will also assist you. And if you want to be an academician as well, you are welcome. It's part of our training that we give. So thank you so much for attending. I think we have about 70 plus people on this seminar today. It's lovely to have you. Thank you for coming. God bless you. So if you've got any question, you can just email me. Then I will